Nigeria Labour Congress insists new minimum wages binding on all employers of labor. Federal government poised to combat malaria scourge in Nigeria. Federal Medical Center Umuahia to improve on kidney transplant exercise. And on the foreign scene, Chinese president demands fair treatment of citizens abroad. The details shortly. And now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari says education is a vital tool for combating the Boko Haram terrorism. The president stated this at a ceremony to commission 6 model schools out of 40 world-class facilities established to provide quality education to most children of the poor and those turned orphans by the 10-year insurgency in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. He praised the effort of the outgoing administration of Governor Ibrahim Shatima in promoting education as a counter-strategy to Boko Haram ideology and insurgency. The presidency is insisting that President Muhammadu Buhari's 10-day trip to United Kingdom is not a medical trip, as widely speculated. The special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, stressed that the private visit does not call for serious alarm, as speculated by members of the opposition.
Those who want to believe all things should just believe what has been released, that is a private trip. When a man goes on a private trip, he has the right to use his time the way he deems, because he has a right to a private time. So those who want to believe it's a medical trip, they have a right to believe it if it pleases them, if it makes them happier.
And now to labor matters. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, says the new minimum wage recently signed by President Muhammadu Buhari is binding on all employers of labor in the country. Speaking on a monitored television interview, Waba stated that the only employers whose workers are less than 25 can be exempted from the monthly 30,000 naira salary increment, salary payment. The NLC boss, however, decried the varying salary structure of the public and civil service, calling for a guide to uniform the system. Citing the law, Waba also advocated for an increase in the payment of pensions and gratuity to retired Nigerian workers. Defense Headquarters says no new salary scale has been approved for the armed forces of Nigeria. Acting Director of Defense Information, Onyema Nwachukwu, said this in reacting to a purported document containing an upgraded salary structure for the military. Nwachukwu noted that the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, has signed a new minimum wage of 30,000 naira for workers across the country, but stated that it was outrightly mischievous for anyone to circulate fake documents detailing the salary structure of the armed forces. The Nigerian Army has redeployed the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Suleiman Kazaure, and 8 other generals in a major shakeup from the Army headquarters in Abuja. Kazaure, the 17th NYSC DG, was redeployed to the Nigerian Army Resource Center in Abuja as a senior resource person, while a new DJ, Brigadier General Shaibu Ibrahim, has been appointed. Ibrahim, who was formerly with the Nigerian Army University BU in Borno State, will take over the NYSC as the 18th head of the scheme. And straight to the health sector, the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale, says the federal government is committed to eliminating malaria in Nigeria. Speaking during the World Malaria Day celebration, Adewale pointed out that the federal government has initiated innovative programs that will increase funding of malaria programs to control the scourge.
Of malaria in our beloved country. Let me inform you all that we are fully committed to malaria elimination. We have developed innovative programs that will increase access to funds for malaria program implementation, some of which include the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, the Save 1 Million Life Initiative, as well as soliciting for additional funding support for malaria program.
Benue and Taraba State have inaugurated a 10-man committee to look into the crisis that erupted between Tiv and Jonkun communities of both states. The Deputy Governor of Benue State during the inauguration urged the committee to prefer solutions towards ending the feud in both states.
So as this committee, as you swing into action, we want you to, as quickly as possible, find a solution so that what had happened will not reoccur again.
And back home in Abia State, Anglican Bishop of Umuahia and Archbishop of Aba Province, Ikechi Nwachukwu, is advising Governor Okezie Ikpeazu to prioritize teachers and pensioners' welfare. Speaking to Flow FM News during the 2019 Synod Conference of the St. Stephen's Anglican Communion, Umuahia, the bishop urged Governor Ikpeazu to create avenue for feedback from Abians.
That hospital in especially hospital in Aba, I nearly went moribund, but it was the governor that tried and resuscitated it. Then some civil servants were not having their pay some, and then he tried and reached out to them. But there are others, like the teachers and those who, who are retired, and they are greater in number. And he doesn't appear to be, saying anything about those ones.
Bishop Bunwosu warned politicians to refrain from owing workers or face severe punishment from God.
When persistently you do not pay people for the work they are doing, it has a spiritual connotation. It doesn't matter whether you know God or you don't. Stop the movement towards that way where you are being wicked to people who are working and you're not concerned about their well-being, and turn around and start embracing them as God's subjects, first and foremost, before even government subjects.
Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu has approved the immediate dissolution of the boards of Abia State University Teaching Hospital, ABSUTH, and the Hospital Management Board, HMB. A statement by the governor's chief press secretary, Enyenaya Apollos, does not disclose reasons for the action, but appreciated members of the boards for their contribution to the state health sector. Recall that there had been pressure on the state government to sack management of some ailing parastatals and agencies, especially those owing salaries to workers. Medical Director of Federal Medical Center in Umuahia, Onyebuchi Azubike, is promising to sustain and improve on the kidney transplant and in vitro fertilization IVF introduced by his predecessor. Speaking to Flow FM News, Azubike solicited for cooperation from the workers to achieve his set goals.
My predecessor in office introduced this renal transplant surgery for the hospital, and we're here to sustain that and improve on what he has put in place. We do in vitro fertilization for infertile couple, and I must also announce that last week we had a batch that we did and we had 33% success rate. It's not very bad, but we intend to improve.
Reacting to the success of the 5th kidney transplant, the new FMC boss revealed plans to build a capacity of neurologists in the institution.
And the next step is for them to build the capacity of our urologists here so that they can also have that expertise to be doing renal transplant. We're also improving the working environment where these surgeries are done, and then the intensive care unit, making sure that we equip them with modern things that you can see anywhere abroad. By so doing, we reduce medical tourism and help Mr. President in achieving his health agenda in his next level agenda.
The Speaker, Abia State House of Assembly, Chikwendo Kalu, is calling on people to constantly reflect on the phenomenon of death and evaluate their actions so as to live a worthy life. Kalu, who made this call at a voluntary session of the State House of Assembly in honor of the member that represented Olokoro Ubakala State constituency in the old Imo State, Sir Ogbonna, described death as an inevitability of all mortals. The Speaker, while stressing the need for the people to strive to obey God's command while alive, prayed God to grant the late elder statesman eternal rest. Flow News at 6 p.m. continues shortly with foreign, sports, and entertainment news. Do stay tuned.
From Abia, God's own state, this is Flow 94.9 FM.
Thanks for staying tuned. And now, outside the shores of Nigeria, China's President Xi Jinping is calling for a fair and friendly environment for Chinese companies and citizens overseas as pushback against its tech giants rises and academics find their visa